Hi everyone, Patty here with my cool papers that I will be using with the stamped leaves on jelly plates in my last two videos. This recycled paper will end up being my journal cover. Let's gather our supplies so they're handy before we start. I have a list of supplies listed in the listing, but I would use whatever Oxide inks you have. I made two inks with my re-inkers, walnut crystals, and water to get a darker brown color for my faux leather look. Spread out your brown packaging paper and start spraying your Oxide inks on it. Just keep moving your paper around and keep adding layers of color. There's not going to be any one right side or wrong side on this, and sometimes I like the back side just as well as I did the front. I crinkle up my paper after I add a color, and that helps distribute the ink, and it makes crooks and crannies so the paint can be darker in some areas. One nice thing about the Oxide inks is that they layer so nicely, allowing the colors to show through, giving it the aged look I'm looking for. The pigment element of Oxide inks lets the layers work together without getting muddy. Once the dye is applied on a surface, it doesn't dry straight away. The color stays wet for a long time, so you have the option to keep adding more colors. The colors will bleed through onto the back side, and this looks nice too, but make sure you cover your work surface. The piece of brown packaging paper that I have underneath mine is getting some of the residual sprays, which is fine because I'll just keep adding layers to it too. The walnut crystals add a dark brown touch. I just spread a few, just sprinkle it around, and it will make brown dots. And then as I crinkle it up a little more, and if you add water, it makes it dissipate in little formations. Little Rainbow Moon Creative Sprays has a matte teal base which dries to reveal flecks of shimmering purple color shifts. It's something out of this world, I have to say. I try to show a picture at the end of the video with the sparkle in this piece. The picture just doesn't do it justice. Even when the paper is completely dry, if you add a single drop of water, it's still going to react and start creating a different pattern with the Oxide inks. Now to add a little more dazzle to this with the Finnabair metallic wax. I have a stencil that I have no clue where it came from, but it was a rock-looking formation, but dots in varying sizes would work the same way. I keep moving the paper in all directions and keep adding the metallic wax to the surface. I love anything copper, and this Firebird metallic wax from Finnabair is just the sort of thing I look for. Move the paper around so you have colors going in all different directions. Do you ever have paper that you've bought that you think is so pretty that you won't cut it or use it? Well, I'm afraid that's going to happen with this because it turned out so pretty that I'm not going to be able to cut this stuff. It is just beautiful. I just keep layering and turning and adding color. If you think the Firebird is pretty, wait till you see the Peacock metallic. It is also very special. No real order. I just keep layering and moving my paper around and adding the rock formation stencil pattern in different places. Now I go for the 3D stamp paint in gold. My pot of gold is just about used up, but I get enough to add a little more sparkle and shine to this piece. So I'm looking for blank spots that maybe do not have anything, that it just needs a little more extra sparkle. Maybe faux leather shouldn't sparkle and shine, but mine sure does. Okay, don't forget the antique bronze and the tarnished brass stain and flecks across the whole thing. You can never have too many splashes. I just hit the applicator over my finger to get small dots, because I don't want to spray it on. I don't want a big spray of it. And plus the sprayer on these aren't working that well, so splashes work best. Oh, I think that's pretty. Will I be able to cut it up and use it? You can see the dots of the walnut crystals or the black, darker dots. I've decided this piece I needed to add something else, so I went for Little Rainbow Moon's pigment colors, which are a little pot of color magic. Sprinkle the smallest amount, literally a few grains, onto your paper and spray with water and watch the colors burst. The more water you add, the more blended the colors will be. You can't even see the few grains I used, but once the water activates, you can see all of the color. Be careful, as the paper is wet and it will tear very easily each time you crinkle it up and add more water. If only you could see the sparkle this pigment powder gives this piece. I just love it. Just a few more sprinkles here in this corner. Leave them to dry on a flat surface. After they're dried, I'm going to spray them with a matte finish, and then I will be able to use them with matte medium over the pieces when I make my journal cover, because this paint water soluble and it will smear if I don't add a fixative first to seal it. Thanks for watching.